So let's get right into it, guys. Today we are going to be doing some coverage, some exclusive coverage of the Iran war, actually. But I'm also going to be talking about some very. We're going to take inventory of where we are right now, and it's in tandem with the latest post that I put on X. And we're just going to have to talk about that. We're going to have to talk about MAGA communism, social progressivism, all the hot topics that we seem to be in hot water about. And I'll tell you why there's an upsurge of cope and screaming and shitting about ACP and about our movement. First things is the Reddit outcry, because apparently we're stealing subreddits, and that's worse than Israel killing children. That's worse than the Holocaust, okay? Apparently it's worse than the Holocaust that someone is taking over subreddits. This is all astroturf shit by the fucking federal government. We all know that. Okay, so there's that. And then there's also, I don't know if you guys been noticing. Did you know we've been popping off on X? Not just the ACP account. I just see gorillas popping off all the time now. Jesus Motorcycles, his edits are going super viral. Ruslan made a account called Fentcom, which overnight got like 30,000 followers. Dane, we are like popping off every other day. We are extremely outsized influence relative to our numbers, straight up. We are like really popping off big time. Our influence is starting to be felt by a much wider circle and stratum of people than ever before. It's like they're really feeling pressure from ACP and everything. But this is why we're getting a new wave of these like old recycled reactions to ACP that we've been pretty much accustomed to for 4 years, 5 years. Even before ACP started, our movement was targeted by this shit. It's like, well, the reason is because first of all, there's a few things happening. More of the left are becoming tankies because of the Iran war. So these new tankies think that you're a government psyop. I was a Stalinist while you were in diapers, you fucking retard. Sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. People don't know that we have OG status, that we've been here for a very long time. And the reason they don't know that is because we are just kind of not in the spotlight of H3 subreddit. We're not in that milieu. We don't fuck with that. So they think we just came out of nowhere or some shit. We've been here. Okay. And there's just like we've been fighting the Groypers and fighting the right for a long time. Now it's still going on for sure, but now, from our left flank, it's not really it's still a right flank, but now we're starting to get, a lot of cope and seething from that direction. And I don't have patience for it. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to be more accommodating. I'm not going to be more friendly. I am not Zohran Mamdani. I am not Kate Abu Ghazala. I am not one of these house Arabs, whatever you fucking call them, these house Muslims, these house Arabs. I'm not like that. I'm a fucking asshole. I'm going to tell you the truth, and if you have a fucking problem with it, go grab a tissue and cry about it, you little bitch. That's my fucking take. I'm not Zohran Mamdani. I'm not going to smile and make you feel wholesome and warm and shit. I'm going to slap you across the face and tell you what a fucking retard you've been for decades and how much you got to get your shit together and wake the fuck up. That's the type of Arab Muslim that I am. You understand? I don't give a shit who that offends. I don't care how unwholesome that is to people. I don't care how brutal it is to people. I literally don't give a shit. I don't have patience for you. I will tell you the straight truth. This is why the white workers and the black workers and the Latino workers of America fuck with me. Because I tell the unfiltered truth. Do you understand? So today we're going to be talking about Iran. So basically, Netanyahu building the third temple, and basically the red cow and the new Hitler will rise in Malaysia. And a lot of people don't know that the Gnostics wrote about how Iran and Russia, the Jewish Bolsheviks, took Russia for... Sorry, I just had to do that. I'm a little bit schizophrenic. Because I'm not going to be on some Professor Jiang shit, you know? But, I want to talk about some things that have been on my mind. And really where we have to begin is we actually have to, when I talk about giving the brutal, straight, and honest truth, I think about what it is that everywhere I go, I divide. I am a disaster for this space. In terms of people's mental health, I admit that. You know, almost every other party member or guerrilla that I meet, who are my brothers, by the way, I'll take a bullet for y'all, by the way. They tell me, you know, Haas, you saved my life. And so the sword cuts both ways, though. The amount of benefit that I bring by giving you these sober, brutal truth pills or whatever also causes a lot of coping and mental devastation and psychological issues for other people. I inspire the same devotion that you have in this cause, the same devotion you have that I inspire you with, to an equal extent and an equal proportion. I inspire hatred and I inspire opposition. And that just comes with, that's just the price of having a very powerful message. Frankly, this is why we are so contentious, by the way. And so it leads people to say, you're COINTELPRO, you're feds, you're disrupting the movement. And this is the crux of what I want to get to be honest. Your so-called movement has had decades to get its shit together. And I understand there's this vague idea that this is the left and you just don't quit. This is the left. This is everything else is right wing. This is the left. And I understand there's this Obama psychological mental dome people lived inside, this bubble, where the line kept going up. Oh, gay marriage and transgender, all these things. Oh, how wholesome. Ellen DeGeneres and all these things. How wholesome. Obama, black people are equal now. There's no more racism, and everything is just getting better and better, and we're progressing, and so wholesome and so loving, and everything's becoming so great. And then the dark forces, the reaction, so to speak, right? That represents the resurgence of neo-fascism, because we were on course for a normal trajectory before the neo-fascists came. You know, the people who are contradicting this hegemony in some way, that with these really brutal, ugly, dark things, racism, sexism, all these dark, evil, really bad things. And our default is that we're a wholesome, progressive society. We're a wholesome, loving, progressive society that is left-wing inherently, right? Because we all put a smile on. I'm crazy, sorry. I'll calm down. We are a wholesome, progressive, left-wing society, and there's a neo-fascist menace and threat, the dark enlightenment, the neo-reaction. This was all an aberration that just came out of nowhere. Totally unnatural aberration. It's neo-fascism, and we need to go back to our Obama safe space where we're all normal. We're all normal here. We're in our Obama safe space. We work in, you know, human relations in a corporation or something, and you work for the New York Times. I work for the Daily Show with what's his name, Stephen Colbert, right? Whatever, Jimmy Kimmel, whatever. It's like this, just like this Hollywood facade of just wholesomeness and happy, wholesome chungusness that people live and dwell within and live and die by. And it's the source, yeah, Ellen DeGeneres, just the source of people's mental health and stability and sense that they're living in a stable, normal world and everything's fine. And then apparently, if we want to be communists, it's that. I love Pokemon. It's that, like Brandon Torres. I love Pokemon. I love Donkey Kong. I love Mario. I love... you love all these things. And then in addition, we're so wholesome, we're going to take the Obamunism to the next level, and we're just going to all hug each other and become part of... And then here I am pooping on the party. And apparently that makes me a fascist. I just have a few objections. That's all that I would like to get out. And you're like, Haas, why the fuck are you talking about Obama? It's 2026. Because believe it or not, people still haven't left the bubble from the Obama era. Their sense of social progress comes from the Obama era. Their sense of where everything went wrong was after Obama. This is implicitly what these people believe. This is how they've measured progress so far. Sometimes I see these people say we're in an era of global counter-revolution. I wonder why they're saying that. We're living in an era after 1991, after the dissolution of the Warsaw Pact, after Libya. And then I realize you're talking about the Trump era after Obama. This is just the era of darkness and everything was light before. I hate to poop on the party. I know apparently being a party pooper is right wing now. Fuck, I don't know what I could say to get through to people. I gotta get through to these kids. You know, I got like in South Park. I got to get through to, but instead of kids, it's like grown 25-year-old autistic people. But why the fuck do I? Because I'm trying to get through to them. Even these retard furries and these disgusting people. Because I know if I bother you this much, I've caught your attention. There's something about what I'm saying that bothers you, right? And I would just like you to listen to that worm of doubt a little more intensively. And the truth is that I used to be like you. I used to be a bog standard American leftist. Wouldn't say bog standard, but I definitely understand that point of view a lot. I remember the sense of revulsion and fear and shock upon being confronted with the illiberal tendencies. Believe it or not, Harsh, what's up? I had a conflicted reaction to Trump's presidency for sure. But there was something about it I found very, very dark. And I remember learning about Curtis Yarvin and then Nick Land. I remember learning about them, and I remember how much anxiety it would cause me. I used to be a shitlib in a way, right? I remember when I was in college, I'd be sitting on the couch looking at the wall, thinking about Land on numbers, you know, his understanding of his kind of debasement of numerology and stuff. And I just was losing my fucking mind. There was just this overwhelming sense of anxiety that I had that, like, why should we be biased and believe that the material world is inherently left-wing? What if it is true, you know, that all these things that the right is saying, in addition to all of the fucking memes, it's like, what if, you know, what leads us to believe that the progressive Obama society we live in is actually a reflection of reality? And these doubts bothered me. They bothered me. I felt an immense sense of anguish and anxiety. I remember it. I understand the reaction we elicit in this so-called liberal leftist. It's probably the same thing. When they see us be so politically incorrect, when they see me so casually deal with thinkers and ideas that come from the right in a way that just like I show no fear and I'm not intimidated by it, there's this instinctual revulsion that what it really is they have this security system that they call the left. And they see a breach in the system. That, you know, the reason we get fed jacketed all the time is because people see us as an infiltration in this kind of mental, psychological security system they have, which ultimately comes from the Obama era. And they still haven't learned why the Obama era is past us. They still cling to this delusion that there is a continuity of social progress and democracy and all these kind of things that has merely been detracted from the rise of a neo-fascist right. And I spent a lot of time isolated and thinking about what all this meant. And the more I started to really psychologically come to terms with the direction that we're taking as a society, as a world. What does it mean existentially, metaphysically? I mean, like, is land right? Are the nihilists correct? The more I realize something, I really became disgusted with leftists. I became disgusted with them because while I was being exposed to the hideousness of the right-wing ideas, and what bothered me about right-wing thinkers wasn't that their ideas were compelling. It bothered me that people thought this way, that this is how people reacted to existence, to life, and to the world. And with the rise of big tech, I observe that, okay? The reason why I scoff and brush off people talking about big tech and Palantir in 2026 is because I was freaking out about it in 2014. Nobody gave a fuck. DSA people did not they thought I was a schizophrenic lunatic when I would talk about how big tech is like neo-fascist, and like they didn't give a fuck. They just kind of looked at me like I was crazy and were like, well, you know, Facebook's pretty wholesome. Now every other YouTube video is one of these shitlib Vox or something talking about how the dangers of big tech, and you're too late. You're way too late. Yeah, they used to love you, Elon Musk. Absolutely. I had Trump derangement syndrome before Trump was elected. I was fear-mongering about it, and I fell on deaf ears from leftists who were living in a bubble. They couldn't imagine it. It was like they lived in this bubble where the world was inherently wholesome. And don't worry, these are just some nasty, bad, bigoted people, and love will prevail, and Hillary will win. And then after Trump won, I felt betrayed a little bit. I felt betrayed by the sense of complacency and delusion and falsehood that had been created by the left. The way that they would lie to themselves, that there wasn't a fundamental shift happening, that they just weren't equipped to respond to in any kind of way. This way they would just dismiss any attempt to bring it up and be like, hey, this is a fucking problem. You want to know how I got these scars? Well, that's how it started. I used to be a bog standard libtard, retard leftist. But I just had the courage of a little self-awareness. I didn't get taken for a ride after all these horrific things in the breakdown of our overt customs and manners and ideologies happen at the public level. Oh, I never had this reactive knee-jerk reaction because I had the foresight to see where things were headed. I was sitting here thinking about what direction are we going in. And it's almost as if to think in a long-term way was to speak a language that was alien to these so-called leftists. And then as time went on, this was during the Trump 1.0, by the way. Time went on, I began to grow just more bitter in a way, looking at leftists and seeing their hypocrisy. That's what killed me. I became instinctually disgusted by the worldview that leftists lived in, the world they lived in, the bubble they lived in. Because wait a second, all of this shit was happening under Obama. Under Obama, we were killing and blowing up kids with drones. We devastated entire nations like Libya. Big tech was consolidating first under Obama, this techno-fascism people now talk about. And we were entering a very ruthless, brutal fucking world. A really ugly, dark, brutal fucking world. But we just weren't allowed to reflect that in our vocabulary. Because if we did that, we would somehow be accused and be culpable. Just by passively reflecting it. We're reinforcing it. The more we just create a bubble and insulate ourselves from the ugliness and brutality and darkness of the world, the more we get a self-satisfactory sense that we're no longer culpable in it, but you are. There's nothing about the Trump era that was more hideous than the Obama era. Actually, it was just more honest. And what does that say about these liberal leftists? They are not more left-wing than Trump. They're just liars. They just sanitize and purify their fucking language. They create a mental safe space and they isolate themselves from the ugliness and brutality and ruthlessness of the world. And they think that makes them morally superior, as if they're not equally culpable in the state of the country. But the fundamental question remained. I mean, how can you maintain faith in the communist cause, in Marxism, in the broad left-wing tradition, without this copium mental safe space security system, which was not reflective of reality? So how can you embrace the real? The reason I spent so much time and contemplation and introspection and stuff is because I wanted to know, what does it really mean to give way to the real? You know, liberal leftists, these Redditors, they believe that ultimately they do reflect the truth of reality. You know, like, oh, well, the science, Neil deGrasse Tyson agrees with us, and they never question it. And so there's this kind of passive guarantee in the institutions that rule society, this fundamental trust in them. Sophia, what's up? Thank you for the 5. And there's no authentic encounter with the real, with nothing, without any mediation, in a sense. You know, like, okay, what about outside of your safe space? Can you just honestly face the truth of the reality you live in without a filter? And this is what I tried to do for years, you know, and I guess the, you know, origins of the restored faith I have in the revolutionary tradition and in Marxism and in the good, really more broadly, this is what we're talking about, is that I started to understand and accept that the reason there is an alignment between the innate sense of justice and good and whatever that we aspire toward and the real, the world as it really and truly is because that's where it comes from. It doesn't come from these institutions. It doesn't come from these institutions that protect our democracy. It doesn't come from these fake, inauthentic safe spaces we create. It comes from the real. And it's on us to rediscover that. And when I really embrace that fact, when I embrace the fact that, you know, we need to face reality without a filter and still have the faith and the confidence that reality aligns with, even at the most vague possible level, our deepest human aspirations. Which to me was the whole secret of Marx's materialism. All that anxiety and fear I had about the far right disappeared. Totally disappeared. I know I was no longer intimidated by the right. I mean, it was just like I kind of now could understand what it was. What was the vital source of power that it drew from? And some people say that, you know, you guys are part of the far right's cultural hegemony. And I'm like, you're a fucking retard. Look what you're looking at since 2016 has been the breakdown of liberal hegemony. The absence of political correctness and the absence of these guardrails on acceptable forms of thought is not, the positive consequence of some ideology. Ideologies are not materially real. That's fundamentally idealist. There's nothing neo-fascist or far right about emancipating yourself from the liberal Obama safe space copium bubble that you live in. There's nothing far right about that. You're embracing the wilderness. You're going out and embracing the real, the wilderness. If you don't have the faith and the confidence that as a consequence of this encounter, you cannot discover the essence of the revolutionary tradition of Marx, Engels, Lenin, Stalin, Mao, etc. You're unworthy of the name Marxism. Stop calling yourself a Marxist. You're not a Marxist. Not honestly, at least. You don't believe in it. And so I'm being very good faith about the source of people's problem because it's not rational. It's something deeply psychological. We are coded as far right because we are outside of a safe space. We're not trapped within a discursive and semiotic prison. And for this reason, outside of the prison, they say that's only the far right is there. But it's not just the far right that's there. It's also the potential and the possibility of a real left wing. The real left wing. The one that Lenin was a part of. The one that Robespierre was a part of. The one that Che Guevara was a part of. It's outside of the safe space. Not within. It's outside. And the potential is there. It's not just the far right. The far right is filling a vacuum that the left should be occupying. But it's this abominable, disgusting liberal left safe space that they dwell and live and eat and breathe within. That is the far right objectively. You are the far right. You are the sanction. You are the veneer. You are the justification. You are the kind of fantastic whitewashing of an extremely hideous, brutal reality that you are culpable in for no other reason than the fact you're unwilling to be honest about it. You're not anti-racist because you're unwilling to confront the reality of racism through humor. You're more of a racist. You're unwilling to confront the reality you're part of. You haven't created some avant-garde society devoid of the evils that our society is victimized by. You're more culpable in them because you're repressing them. You're ignoring them and denying them. You're a liar. You are the far right. You are the right wing. And all these alt-right, whatever people, they're just fake revolutionaries. I mean, Logo came to understand this himself. These are people you could qualify in the same way, like reactionary socialists, utopian socialists, whatever. These other varieties of people who had a problem with the system. And I just want to make it clear that we haven't broken ranks from the left because we've left this semiotic and discursive safe space that they live and breathe and reside within. An ordinary person doesn't automatically live in that safe space. An ordinary person is very politically incorrect, says bad jokes, and tells it how it is, how they really feel. The burden is not on us to prove that, we've adopted some far-right ideology. The burden of you is to prove what is so left-wing about your Obama safe space that you live inside. And I want to talk about I try to be patient with God. I try to be patient in the sense of, I ask God that, please, whatever outcome comes of this, just make it aligned with make it aligned with something that's just, a just outcome. And I try to have the patience to understand why things are the way they are. But I can't shake off a fury and a rage I have inside of me, no matter how patient I try to be. An extreme hatred and rage I have within me. That we are isolated as this, we're these outside infiltrators. We are this far-right menace. We cannot tolerate you within the left. You're not part of our left. Anyone who hates ACP on the left, you're my friend. You're this big problem. ACP is this big issue. Let's freak out about ACP like you are clearly you're like a thumb sticking out. You're a big fucking problem. The line is drawn here. You're far right, and we're the left. And I look at your left. I look at your left of Kate Abu Ghazala. I look at your left that is not even united on the basic issue of what is your attitude toward the Russian special military operation? What is your attitude toward the one China policy? What is your attitude to the so-called state of Israel? What is your attitude to the key fundamental issue of actually existing socialism and U.S. imperialism? What is your actual stance concretely in relation to Iran and to Hezbollah? There are fundamental divisions on the so-called left that are not regarded as fundamental by these leftists. They're non-antagonistic contradictions. What are the antagonistic contradictions? Transgenders. That's my fucking problem. Do you understand? It's not even transgenders because, truth be told, we don't give a fuck about that issue. It's how we talk about these things. It's the callous way in which we just speak like normal people. We don't have this filter. We don't have political correctness. We aren't intimidated by, we don't mind making fun of and memeing right-wing ideas if it amuses us and we find it funny. It's not like we take it seriously, but it's like we are very brutal and realistic about the world. I mean, it's just like an extreme brutal understanding of what is reality, right? Without a filter. And that is the antagonistic contradiction for them, that they are paranoid about ACP inside their walls. But inside their walls are supporters of the Kiev regime in Ukraine. And inside of their walls are supporters of NATO. Inside of their walls are supporters of separatism within China. Inside of their walls are people who are Zionists. That never rose to the status of an antagonistic contradiction for them. So yes, we insist on a division. If we have to represent the red line, so fucking be it. But your left is fake. Your left is a facade that comes from fucking Obama. It's not a real left. If you're fucking uniting NATO supporters with self-proclaimed Marxist, Leninist, anti-imperialists who are pro-trans, I guess, if you guys consider yourselves part of some vague milieu that you share that's distinct in some qualitative way with us, you're not Marxists. You're not part of the revolutionary tradition of history. You're a bunch of spineless pieces of shit united very cynically by a common class interest of these petty bourgeois professionals who live and work and shit and breathe inside of these fucking bubbled in, safe space corporate environments that you mistaken for the real world. Digital artists and fuck you, literally fuck you. I don't understand it. We're the red line. I'm honored. We should be honored. Don't you fucking dare call us far right, you piece of shit. You are literally getting fucked inside your own ranks. You don't give a fuck, you cuck. There's fucking NATO supporters in your fucking ranks. There's fucking Ukraine supporters. There's Israel supporters. There's fucking Yanis Varoufakis, who's against Iran, called for regime change in Iran. People that fucking called for regime change inside Syria. People who fucking denounce the actions of resistance. You don't fucking lose your mind about those people like you do about us. Fucking Kate Abu Ghazala and that fucking Zionist bitch Zoran. You don't give a fuck about that. You don't lose your fucking mind and get paranoid about that. It's only us that trigger you. Why is it only us that trigger you? Inside your own fucking camp, inside your own fucking ranks where you're all fucking holding hands in your fucking safe space, coping together about how much you're united against the ACP. Who the fuck are you holding hands with, you piece of shit? You want to be fucking pure? Be fucking pure. Look to your shoulders, side to side. You're fucking NATO supporters, Israel supporters. Enemies of socialism worldwide. Enemies of the CPC. Enemies of the sovereignty of the Russian people. Enemies of the Islamic Republic. This is who you break bread with? Oh, we're just not sectarian. So why the fuck are you sectarian when it comes to us? Because admit this, you piece of shit. Your fucking red line is some nebulous bullshit political correct language tone policing about transgenders rather than children being mutilated and blown up by the fucking bombs your politicians sign on to sending. Your politicians, the ones you fucking promote. By the way, none of these people have been held accountable. How many fucking Hillary staffers were held accountable? How many of these fucking Kate Abu Ghazala Zoran shills, how many of these fucking people have been canceled for their past? No, I've learned. I've become more mature. I've learned. Really? You've learned? They dare try to denounce MAGA communism. MAGA communism was the most vindicated strategy in the entire history of the 21st century U.S. left. Why? Because the MAGA base, where has it shifted? What is the shift going on? Anti-Israel, anti-war, anti-Trump, anti-regime. How has the Democrat base shifted in the past 2 years? Well, they've doubled down, increased support of NATO. They become more Zionist. They become more interventionist, like that bitch, Kate Abu Ghazala. They become more in favor of the regime, without Trump, of course, but fundamentally, they think Trump is a troublemaker within an otherwise good, well-oiled regime that they support. Because transgender rights are non-negotiable, right? So we'll bomb your country and we'll invade your country and attack you. And that is how they've shifted. They have shifted more towards support of NATO and the imperialist state machine. How has MAGA shifted? MAGA shifted in the opposite direction. So tell me how MAGA communism wasn't vindicated, you fucking idiot. The Democratic Party has shifted more pro-imperialist. MAGA has shifted in the opposite direction. And they'll try to pull up, by the way, if you clip this without showing this part, they're going to pull up a poll of, oh, what about MAGA? Yeah, everyone who still calls themselves MAGA, of course, supports what Trump is doing. But how many people used to call themselves MAGA now agree with Tucker Carlson and Candace and the rest of them? And you know something? Hassan Piker said some crazy shit recently, okay? He's like, I couldn't believe how blatant he was about this.
I know the devil, man.
Trying to find the short. There's a YouTube short. This is it.
You want to know the worst?
He calls this the worst possible outcome. I'll explain exactly why.
You want to know the worst possible outcome for 2028? Tucker Carlson runs on an anti-Israel platform in 2028, and the Democrats put forward a pro-liberal Zionist, pro-defending America's military might candidate.
But why would that be the worst outcome? Like, what if it was, why? Because Hassan inherently believes the Democratic Party is better. But why, honestly, I want you to think about that lineup. The fact Hassan is entertaining that as possible proves he should admit MAGA communism was vindicated. Who saw that? Who saw the possibility of that coming? That there would be a significant enough electorate and base that would support that kind of platform that comes from MAGA. Look what else he admits.
Tucker Carlson wins by Ronald Reagan numbers, not only by winning over the MAGA crowd, which he has complete control over, in my opinion.
So apparently MAGA is no longer Trump because Tucker Carlson has complete control over the MAGA crowd. So how are we not fucking vindicated about MAGA communism? Veronica, try stop being retarded for 2 minutes and then come back. Anyway, because even if you're a pro-Ukraine retard, my rage is still justified because there are self-proclaimed MLs who do share formally our position on that issue, but for whom it's not an antagonistic contradiction. If you understand what's going on in Ukraine, then it should be an antagonistic contradiction for you. But for them, it's not. Transgenders are. Anyway, regarding Hassan Piker and what he's saying here. Look, I want you to understand something. If this happens, Tucker Carlson versus Gavin Newsom, and Tucker runs on an anti-war, anti-Israel platform, which obviously, if Tucker runs, I promise you the Democrats are going to field the most aggressively pro-national security establishment, pro-imperialist candidate of all time. The Democrats will say, yeah, see, the MAGA people have become pro-Russia, pro-China. I promise you the Democrats will become super patriots if that happens. And if it does, say goodbye to the so-called conventional left. That will be the final nail in the coffin to kill the fake Obama left for the rest of our days on Earth. It will be dead forever because that political campaign, that presidential election will draw a line in the sand. Obviously, on a principle, we're not going to endorse anyone, but objectively speaking, what it's going to do for the political alignment in this country of what is left and what is right, all leftists are going to have to make a decision. Do I want to be in the same broad demographic and camp of people who are pretty socially conservative on the trans issues or whatever, but are simultaneously very anti-Zionist? Or do I want to double down on the transgender LGBT obsession, which the Democrats will never abandon, but they're going to be like aggressively pro-NATO and aggressively pro-Israel? You're going to have to make that choice. You're going to have to choose and get your priorities in order. And that's really my message. The day is coming that you're going to have to get your priorities in order. And that's going to redefine what it means to be on the right versus what it means to be on the left. Being on the left is no longer going to be defined by having a metrosexual accent and sipping lattes in a cafe with your legs crossed and being a sensitive, fucking low testosterone male who is just a moral whiner all the time, whining and bitching. And with an air of fake moral superiority. Being left-wing is going to be like, I'm literally against the regime. I'm against the Epstein regime. We tell some bad jokes, as all working-class movements do. There's some toxic jokes here. There's some toxic language going on, whatever. At the fundamental level, we are against the regime, right? Versus the Kate Abu Ghazala pro-NATO Democrats. That's going to be the division that matters. And people talk about intersectionality as if as if intersectionality makes it possible to avoid having priorities. How is this not common sense? You have to have priorities. You do have to decide whether or not an effective anti-war opposition is more important than creating a safe space where everyone agrees about transgender rights, whatever that fucking means. You do have to choose. If you're unwilling to work with transphobes, you're unwilling to work with 50% of the population that may very well be against Israel. You're unwilling to work with them because your priorities are not in order. If we have, I'm going to teach you about Marxism. Crossbred, what's up? I'm going to teach you about Marxism. If we live in a material world of material determinations, then our world is structured in such a way that is not intersectional. Materialism means material reality isn't intersectional. Material reality has a base, it has a fundamental material base and foundation, and then on top of this base, yes, there's superstructures and so on and so on, but there's always fundamental, antagonistic, and primary contradictions. Intersectionality means we're going to put all the secondary contradictions and the primary contradictions on the same dimension. But that's idealist. That's just about, do I have the correct ideology? How is our material world actually structured? Well, the way the material world is actually structured is that the system has a foundation in imperialism, in a concrete imperial global system. Now, some so-called leftists are smart enough to understand this, which is why they support Iran. But if they took their criticisms of us to their actual conclusion, they would be hard-pressed to admit that they're being inconsistent. Either it's intersectional and it's either everything or nothing, or there are priorities. And then they may reproach us by saying, well, you're the vanguard party. You're supposed to be correct on every single issue, fundamentally. You're supposed to be... I say, who the fuck are you to declare that these issues are resolved? I've always wanted to know that. Who are you to declare unanimously, based solely on ideology, what is liberation, what's not liberation? Who the fuck are you to declare that? Who are you to say that there's 72 genders and if we don't... Who are you to say this? I'm not even closing the door to you. I'm just telling you, you don't have an inherent advantage versus a fucking random trucker who has his own opinion on that. You don't have any advantage. You have to prove your case according to the logic of civil society itself. There's nothing about Marxism that is biased toward your conclusion about things. So for you to say that, oh, this is the liberate... No. Who the fuck are you to establish that? Who are you? What authority? Based on what? They say the right-wing hegemony. So what's the left-wing counter-hegemony? Where's your workers' movement? Where are your counter-hegemonic institutions? Because all I see on your front are a bunch of billionaire-backed NGOs and billionaire-funded organizations all aligned with the Democratic Party. Academic institutions, media institutions. Where is your actual independent working class counter-hegemonic base? You don't have one, so shut the fuck up about Gromsky if you don't have one. Since Trump told me, they've been backtracking from the woke extremism. ACP Chan, I thought that too. I swear to God, I thought that too. But how come in the last week or so, I'm shocked. Have you been seeing on X these crazy things? ACP, I saw a tweet the other day, ACP transphobia, something, get 5,000 likes. What the fuck is going on? Like we're stuck in 2021 forever. Hassan liked a tweet that said MAGA communism was a failure. It's so funny because first of all, Hassan takes 2 L's. First of all, he hosted Yanis Varoufakis, who himself literally endorsed MAGA communism on his own stream. So why didn't Hassan confront Giannis about how wrong MAGA communism was? Second of all, Hassan here admits that Tucker, not Trump, has control over the MAGA movement right now. And that if Tucker was president, it would be an anti-war, anti-Israel platform. So doesn't that mean the MAGA movement is inherently anti-Zionist and anti-war in the same way that we said they were in 22? Doesn't that vindicate our position? So what a ridiculous thing for Hassan to do, frankly. What a ridiculous thing. Of course MAGA communism was absolutely vindicated. You think Kate Abu Ghazala represents the future of anti-imperialism? The future of anti-imperialism are Tucker Carlson's audience. I don't care what you think about Tucker. You can call Tucker, I don't care. The people that are listening to Tucker right now, who used to be Trump fans, are against Israel, and they're against Ukraine, and they're against foreign interventions. And they're extremely skeptical of everything that corporate America peddles and pushes on us. And they are pretty receptive to socialist ideas, frankly. Meanwhile, let's look at the opposite camp among the liberal, so-called liberal left. How many liberal leftists are against rent control now? Do you know how many are? It's such a unanimous, oh, well, the economists, the experts say that rent control is bad. That's literally the type of Fauci economic shit that they're on. We got to listen to the economic experts. These YIMBY types, right? Let's get rid of the zoning laws and just kind of, you know, like that's their priority and their focus. Instead of the obvious, which is let's proverbially, not literally, slit the throat of the speculator landlord class, the hedge funds and BlackRock and so on. Let's fucking decapitate this parasite that's driving up the cost of living for on all levels. They say, no, we just need to be YIMBYs. What is this fucking metrosexual nonsense they're pushing now? Abundance economics. Abundance, the Klein and Ezra Klein, the guy who looks like the Flash, right? Or he just has the same name. Yeah, the Ezra Klein. Let me just show you this is the Democratic Party right now, you know, and versus MAGA, okay? This is, by the way, this guy will never get canceled because he doesn't have a beard like me, and he looks like he menstruates. So this is who Reddit is okay with. And this is the Bible of the Democratic Party. So tell me how MAGA communism wasn't vindicated. This is you. This is your side, you know, so to speak. You don't have your own side. Shut the fuck up. You don't have your own side. You're a fucking Democrat. You don't have your own side. So this is you. By the way, if you claim that you have your own side, based on what? What resources? What base? What demographic? What organization? What do you have? The DSA? That's it. Democrats. Over the past year, has there been any independent left-wing force in American politics besides ACP? We've had Zohran Mamdani, Democrat. We've had Kate Abu Bitchbala, Democrat. We've had literally CPUSA members run for city council as Democrats, if you could believe it. So what are you talking about? Don't come at me, you little bitch. I will slap you into the ground. You go home crying. Shut the fuck up. I've been the same mean motherfucker that I was since I started this shit in 2021. I will never fucking change. You have to riddle me with bullets to stop me, bitch. All the trauma and mental pain that I cause in people, you fucking deserve it. Because if you've isolated yourself and insulated yourself as a political... Now, if you're some apolitical person, fine. I don't give a shit. If you're calling yourself some revolutionary, some Marxist, some leftist, and you have this fucking safe space, copium, fucking circle jerk, desanitized of all the brutality and horror of the world, and you think that makes you morally superior and that, you know, you encounter one of us, you know, this is a far right. You used to be bitch slapped into the ground. You call us far right. You fucking pussy. Think about how disgusting that is. They think that because they've created a fake safe space, which materially depends upon the hideous, immoral evil of the same system they claim to be opposing, that this makes them superior. Oh, we don't tell bad jokes. We don't say bad words because we're good people. No, this is how they think in their head, mentally. Like, I fucking understand psychology. Like, when they're thinking in their head about how they never use bad words, they're like, we're good people. And they have like an inflection in their voice, like the tone goes higher and they look up. We're good people. Like Superman. We're good people. I'm a good person. Right? That's how they do it, right? I'm a good person. I look upward and transgender. You know? They think they're good people. Fucking hypocrites. They think they're good fucking people. They materially live in the same system as the rest of us. But we never use bad words. And Hakeem's Discord, liberation for all. And they have that Mickey Mouse inflection where they look up. What are you talking? What is materially the basis of this? Nothing. It's a pretension. It's just a pretension. It's just a fucking pretension. There's nothing, but it's based on nothing. They have that thing. They look up. You think you're better than us because what? Because you fucking lie to yourself about your own feelings and your own intrusive thoughts. Far-right infiltrators. How fucking dare you, you piece of shit? How fucking dare you? As somebody who, honestly, I'm at the point, you come up to me and you call me a far-right infiltrator. Base populist, what's up? Saved by the bell, honestly. It's such an infuriatingly disgusting thing to say. When in your own ranks, you have Kate Abu Ghazala. Nobody fucking raises a shitstorm over it, right? Y'all should never stop fighting. We have to fight forever. We're going to be doing this forever. Yo, hello. Ones. All right. Look, guys, we're going to have to fight forever. Until reality get... Honestly, if Tucker and Gavin have a show off in 2028, everything is just going to go our way in terms of how consciousness is going to shift. And we will never have to deal with these people ever again. I fundamentally believe the day will come. We don't have to deal with this wicked, disgusting perversion of Marxism that tries to gatekeep against us. You're not real communists. Who the fuck are you, you pissant? I stomp on you. Who the fuck are you? You're not suspicious of him? Talking head, you're kind of retarded. Should I be patient? Should I be patient with stupidity? Who gives a fuck about who Tucker is? It doesn't matter who fucking... Oh, yeah, it's almost like we're back at MAGA communism. Oh, so you're not suspicious of Trump? Oh, my God. Guys, do you not understand by now? It doesn't matter necessarily who's occupying a space. If I can name a space and identify that space exists, that's what fucking matters. Okay? Tucker can be CIA. Trump could be a pedophile. There's a specific space. There's a specific space that's there. There's a sizable population of people in this country who Tucker represents, just like Trump used to, I guess, who are left wing on foreign policy. And there's a huge convergence of the left, the traditional Obama left, with them. And that's going to lead to a new political realignment where we will no longer have to deal with this ridiculous suspicion on the part of leftists that we are a right-wing op. Do you understand that? Ones, if you understand that. Politics will be so aligned that being left-wing will no longer inherently and nebulously and vaguely, psychologically, be identified with the Democratic Party in the way that it currently is. When that is gone, when that veneer disappears, we are not going to have this aroma and air of mystery and suspicion surrounding us. We're going to be recognized as what we are, legitimate communist Marxist-Leninists in the era that we live in. The reason right now on Reddit and all over social media, in addition to the artificial Fed manipulation shit, which is obvious, but the fundamental reason is because we're fundamentally just not within the spectrum of Democratic Party politics. So they say you must be Republicans. There's no recognition of an outside. You must be some fringe cult like LaRouche. You must be some far-right thing. Now, if I'm a good leader, I am anticipating that there's going to be a shift in U.S. politics that does justify and make sense of why we have this awkward position that we do, which is frankly not a lucrative one. I'm not a grifter, and if I was one, I wouldn't be a good one, because we're in an extremely awkward position. We are left-wing, we're communists, far left, but we just don't have anything in common with any of the other people who use those labels. We don't sound like them, don't look like them, don't have their aesthetic values, don't have their cultural values, don't share their sense of humor, don't have their taste in culture, anything. Like, we have literally nothing in common with them. And, like, that's why they call us Nazbols. We just don't fuck with those people at all and have nothing to do with them. We're not furries. We just don't have the cancel culture and the woke scolding. Like, we don't have any of that shit. So they say, oh, you're far right. You know? So it's an extremely awkward position we're in. If I'm a good leader, then this position that we're in now will be vindicated in the long run. We're not going to be in this awkward corner forever. And I've always believed that. I always believe there's something true about our position, fundamentally, that will be vindicated by reality itself. Autistic Potato, what a honestly great name. Yeah. Look, I think things are going in our favor, but there's a narrative that they're building up that you should be attentive to, which is, look, very seamlessly, a lot of people on the left are joining us. We're getting flooded with support and enthusiasm, and that's why the intensity of the attacks have increased in the way they have. But the narrative that we're this deceptive force that's infiltrated the left and we're not the real left, that's the narrative they're going with now. We haven't changed. We've been here for years and years and years. While these people were in DSA, we were here with the same position we've always had. And they call us infiltrators, and they call us inauthentic. And, you know, the thing is really Fed jacketing. They say CIA, CIA, Fed, PSYOP, CIA. By the way, anyone who says that to me in person, by the way, find out. Please find out. No, find out. Find it. Call me or Jackson that in person. Find out what fucking happens to you. No, because I'll fucking go there. Honestly, how much, just forget me, how much Jackson has fucking sacrificed? How much fucking struggle I personally have been through in this fucking bitch? And you're gonna fucking call me that? You're gonna get the prison treatment. So please test me. Because in prison, you can't just say shit without proof. You can't just say shit and just say shit and get away with it, right? So fuck it, you know? Like, and they think I won't do it. They think I won't literally beat the brakes off of somebody who tries to say that shit to me. Whatever. Like, nobody can look me in the eyes and say we're an inauthentic movement and that I'm not a true believer and that I'm a disingenuous actor. Say that to look me in the fucking eyes and say that to me. Yeah, you're dealing with a crazy person, so sit the fuck down. Fucking retarded ass Redditor. These spiritually Israeli rats. I look retarded right now. Because these aren't even real people. I'm here angry and like having this wrathful reaction to literal Mossad sock puppets. And they're fucking laughing. Because the real people that we talk to have never said any of these things. It's just crazy. It's just fucking crazy. No, the closest we got was at Emory. These bitch-ass Al-Qaeda Free Syria supporters. These Al-Qaeda Syria, Free Syria Jolani fucking Lobubus, right? And they would not say shit to either me or Jackson. They would not say shit to us. They did back channel and go behind our backs and express. We walked around their campus and nobody said shit to us, but they went and they reported that our presence made them have anxiety attacks. They had anxiety attacks and they were so traumatized. So this happened, they never say it to you. They'll go and they go to, I feel, yeah, you know what, boot camp. I don't know what to say to these fucking people. You disgust me. You are subhuman filth. A human being has a minimum degree of thick skin. Minimum. I'm talking about minimum. Where you can tolerate the presence of people who represent worldviews that bother you mentally, right? No, but it's never happened. Are we wrong to cause the division and chaos that we do? Peek under the floor of the so-called U.S. left. A culture of venality, corruption, immorality, hypocrisy, brown-nosing, career climbing. Our positions as Marxist-Leninists aren't taken seriously. Even the people that have them, that are opposed to us, in the DSA, for example, like that fucking retard on X. My DSA is adding Stalin emotes to our Discord. Oh, they don't take it seriously. It's just a joke to them. They take that DNC money seriously. When the Zorons come around, when the Kate Abu Ghazals come around, oh, they got that discipline. They take that shit seriously. Oh, we got to, come on, guys, let's go canvassing. No, they take it seriously. No, they really do. It's that money. That money, that Democrat money, they fucking worship it. Does Stalin have even 5% of the, do they respect Stalin even 5%? How much they respect money? The way that they degrade and mock Stalin, Lenin, Marx, Engels in sexually depraved ways, by the way. Are they that callous and free-spirited when it comes to money and structural power? No, they bow and they revere it, and they have this unspoken respect and worship even, you could argue. Nobody raises I just want to know this. Why does Leninism never rise to the status of an autistic crash out? Why is it that cultural issues will always rise to the level of an autistic crash out? Jackson's tweets will rise to the status of an autistic crash out, but nobody has love and passion and anger and rage in their heart for defending the immortal science of Marxism-Leninism among their ranks, because they don't take it seriously. It never rises to the status of being a problem or an issue for anyone. The mere presence of Jackson somewhere is an issue for people, but it's never rising to the status of an issue that there's a Ukraine supporter in your ranks, that there's an Israel supporter in your ranks. Never rises to the status of being a fucking problem, right? No, they crash out all the fucking time over any pet cultural issue they happen to have, not over imperialism. It never rises to that status. There are Zionists in the DSA. There are Zionists in the DSA. But it's okay to be part of DSA, not ACP, though. We're Nazbols, right? We're Nazbols. We're fake. We're a CIA psyop. But the DSA is okay. Just look at my face right now. However much you guys are giving these people a hard time, turn the volume up by 500,000%. They deserve worse. They only respond to one language. They want to victimize us like they want to make us like correct, morally correct, but victims. Oh yeah, you guys are correct, but we're just going to laugh and mock you, and yeah, we're going to be unjust, but you're just going to be the victims who are morally correct. But no, bitch, we're going to make it a fucking problem. We're going to make it a fucking problem. We are invading your spaces. You will not be safe from us. You will never know peace. We will not be victims. We will not be, we're going to be a problem for you, for sure. If your red line, you're not going to draw a red line at Zionists in your organization, but you're going to open your fucking mouth and make a problem out of ACP, we're going to make that a problem for you. And that's not much for these people. You just got to keep being present. Don't be hostile. You don't have to be hostile. You just have to be present. I'm not saying be hostile, because they interpret our mere peaceful presence as hostility. So just be present. That's all you have to be. Just be present. We'll keep being a thorn in their side. And yeah, we will. And why will we? Because we go our own way and you won't leave us alone. So we come to you. It's simple. Maybe I'm just too spiritually Shiite. Is that what it is? Maybe I'm just too Shiite. Maybe I'm just too Shia. Supposed to kind of just shut your mouth and accept the wicked injustice, right? But I just can't do it. I just can't fucking do it. Like, if I was a smart person, according to these people's understanding of intelligence, I would have just shut up and went with the flow. Don't go against the flow. Don't point out the hypocrisy and the corruption. I don't have it in me to do that. I just don't. You know, and people could say, well, maybe the Shiite position's a losing position. And I say, well, look at Iran and Hezbollah right now. Maybe that's some of the energy we need to be channeling, you know?